The Friday Sports Riot.
I'ma start a ride.
The Friday Sports Riot on SportstownChicago.com.
What's up? This is the Friday Sports Riot. I'm Ryan Hoppy.
And I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And Ryan, who do we have on the phone line?
On the Illinois Center for Broadcasting hotline, we have longtime Chicago sports radio personality Chet Coppock. What's up, Chet?
Well, Ryan to left, Ryan to third, Ryan to right.
Yeah.
Ryan down? Hey, guys, listen, I'm right by the Horseshoe Casino. I'm seeing an event for the Blackhawks at the shoe tonight. I hope I'm in an area where there isn't too much obstruction. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fire away. What are we talking about?
So real quick, you have done so much over the years. What is your favorite memory of it all?
Oh, my gosh. Ryan A or Ryan B, I could probably 3 hours on that. That's really hard. I mean, for example, IM City Concert last week over at Rondo Nesti's place out in St. Charles, the Arcada Theater with the 70s rocker who you guys may have heard about from your grandparents named Eddie Money. And the Chicago Six, Dan Hampton, Otis Wilson, and Steve McMichael were on stage. And by the way, they are great musicians and had tremendous harmony. I think covering the 85 Bears would have to be the museum piece. I was doing Mike Dickman's radio show, and the team was just so gosh darn flamboyant and so energized. And it was the first NFL team, in my opinion, that really went Hollywood. It was the first club that genuinely brought to the fore marketing as we know it today with NFL teams. So, you know, that would be very, very big. But I'm thinking to myself, you know, Chester, when you were 23 years old, you were producing the Milwaukee Bucks radio network, 55 stations. And the Bucks, with a young Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, at that time Lou Alcindor, and the legendary Big O Oscar Robertson, won an NBA title on my birthday.
Wow.
So those are two thrills that are pretty high on the leaderboard right now, pals.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now let's talk about some Cubs and Sox baseball. I know it's that they're not expected, to have great seasons, but obviously Garcia had that torn labrum. And do you think that the Sox are still able to be competitive, even losing a young star like Avisail Garcia? Well,
it's going to be difficult. I mean, this is not a ball club that you expect to really contend in 2014. It's a ball club that's coming off, 99 belly flops. Last year, you'd be thrilled at this ball club to play 79-83, 78-84 right in that vicinity. So with Garcia coming down, you're going to have to hope that Diane DeSaedo can play a reasonable outfield for you. You're going to have to hope that Chris Sale has a Cy Young caliber season. I have some questions about the White Sox bullpen. As for the Cubs, I mean, I put this on Twitter last night that if you're really going to enjoy a 90-loss season, you absolutely have to blow the kind of game the Cubs blew on Thursday, which was just unspeakable to get enough of that good out of Travis Wood and then watch a bullpen, which I think might be overworked already, guys.
Yeah.
Just kiss the sucker right off.
Is this going to be the same thing all year round, where the Cubs have great play by Wood and then they just blow the win?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's a very rational, very logical statement that you're making right now. I think it's something else, guys, that we have to talk about with this club is, eventually there's going to have to be a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Because, attendance, which peaked at 3.3 million, I believe in 2008 under John McDonough and his regime and what they did along with Jay Blanc. This club is going to wind up probably at about 2.1 or 2.2 million. So, I mean, that isn't just a minor box office loss. That is staggering. I mean, that is calling the paramedics and get the transfusion. So I don't think Theo Epstein in any way should be held accountable for this ball club. And here's my rationale. He does have a program. Now you're rolling dice that Baez and all these kids are going to be All-Americans, but this club is running a Kansas City Royals type of payroll in Chicago. I mean, for this ball club with everything it has going for it, to be running a payroll of $88 million, and a big chunk of that dough is tied up in Sammy Sosa playing for the Yankees, is shameful. So at the end of this year, when people start, throwing bricks at Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer, I hope they'll they'll stand back and go, what has the Ricketts family during its tenure as owners of the Chicago Cubs, what have they done to be fan-friendly? What have they done to make life more enjoyable at Wrigley Field? Right now, if you have an answer, Lions combined, you are way the hell ahead of me.
And now, what is your take on the Cubs? They're on the right track to having a team that will be back in the playoff, or is this just going to fizzle out and the Cubs just will go back to being a bad team?
Well, how old do you think I am, Ryan?
40.
You've just been named Man of the Year. I'm 65 years old.
Yes.
I mean, good Lord, I can remember Eisenhower, for heaven's sakes. I think what's disturbing to me about all this is having recognized the passion of Cubs fans over the years. And I was over at Murphy's Bleachers having lunch with my buddy Del Yates today and visiting with Beth Murphy. And I'd love to hang out there. I mean, there is still a lure about that ballpark that I find very intriguing. But, I've gone through so many losing years and so many heartbreaks. And, I endured 1969 like so many Cubs fans did. And I remember sitting in sitting not far from where Bartman was sitting, down the left field line in 2003 in Game 6, when I said to my son Tyler as the top of the eighth began, Tyler, do you realize your old man, all the Cubs have to do is get 6 outs, and your old man's going to see the Cubs in the World Series for the first time in his lifetime? Well, I mean, I was probably a bigger jinx than Bartman, because, we saw the collapse, which, by the way, I still think has ramifications with people who are of your age, who saw that as young fans, and have a hard time really putting a lot of faith in what the Cubs do. We are somehow, blindly loyal that no matter how bad things look, somehow this year will be the year. And fellas, this year is not going to be, believe me, it's not going to be the year.
Right.
If Ricky Renteria can avoid 90 losses, he should be manager of the year.
Now, going back to 2003, how cool, or not necessarily cool, but how kind of surreal was it that you were right near the Bartman play when it happened?
It was beyond surreal.
Yeah.
It was absolutely beyond surreal. And I don't blame Bartman for a minute. I really don't.
No.
He did what any fan would logically do. In fact, I wrote a piece for a magazine about 5-6 years ago. It seems hard to believe that we're coming up on the good Lord, the 11th anniversary of Bartman. And people still try left and right to get a hold of this guy, and he's been offered terrific sums of money to do commercial work, and he just won't bite. But I remember, when it happened, there was this feeling of son of a gun. And then, you could feel this sense of anger and hostility beginning to swell, and people were pointing at Steve and yelling at him, and, guys were throwing beer. And I said to Tyler, they got to get this guy out of the ballpark or they're going to kill him.
Right.
And I remember they got, Bartman up and out of his seat, and he got, fortunately, his safety was preserved when they got him out of the ballpark. But here is the real oddity, and I think this defines Cubs fans. Guys, is, when the game was over, and I left with my son, who would have been, 13 years old at that time, I didn't notice the Cubs fans were really heartbroken or busted up. It was like, hey, let's get to the Cubby Bear, let's get to Murphy, let's get to Sports Corner, let's get to, Casey Moran's or Bernie's. Nothing says Cubs baseball quite like a loss, followed by, too many beers or too many jacks on the rocks.
And now, moving on to the Bulls real quick, what is your take on this team this year as they just keep finding ways to win games?
Well, number one, Thibodeau should just absolutely run away as NBA Coach of the Year.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with that.
When Rose went down and then Dang was peddled, I really thought this ball club would tank it. It's stunning to me that this club has 51 wins, given the fact that, good morning, their center, Joakim Noah, who really should be playing as a big three, leads the club in assists. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But, Augustine's been a revelation. Is he a great player? No, but, somehow he fits marvelously in what, Tibbs wants to do. Heinrich is just, found the fountain of youth this year. So, I'm really intrigued to see what this club can do. If it could survive, guys, a 4-5 against Brooklyn, keep the ticket down to a minimum, hope that, Darren Williams does what he normally does in the playoffs, and that's choke. and wind up in a second round semifinal against Indiana. That could make for one heck of a series. That believe me, the Bulls could win. So once again, we could see the Bulls in Miami, I think, very easily playing in an Eastern Conference final.
What is your take on LeBron James? Could he ever be MJ, or is this just overblown?
Well, I think in some respects he's already MJ. I really do. He's won 2 NBA titles. He still has a long way to go. I will say defensively, he's down near the equal of Michael. In some respects, I think he's probably better because, given his bulk and his 6'8" stature, I think he's probably a better interior defender than MJ ever was. But it all comes down to this, guys. Think about Utah and Mike's shot over Byron Russell, and then think about maybe the most famous shot in NBA basketball history. And I had the good fortune to be 25 feet away from it when Michael drained the J over Craig Elo at the old Richfield Coliseum to beat the Cavs back in good Lord 1988. I was hosting Bulls pre- and post-game shows at the time, and I mean, you can never challenge the way Elo defended him. He got the hand right in his face and did everything he could. And in fact, I think it's great that Craig can joke about it today. But I mean, if I had to rely on one guy to take one shot to bring about peace in the Middle East or satisfy all the unions, as you call them, you want one guy to take the shot with everything on the table. It would not be LeBron James. It would be Michael Jordan, without question. So that makes Michael still your reigning greatest NBA player ever.
Yeah. And now, before we let you go, where can people find your work online?
Well, at a lot of places right now. Go to ChicagoBlackhawks.com. I'll have a video podcast with Dennis Savard probably up tonight or tomorrow. That's terrific. Meanwhile, there are also
very cool
audio podcasts. I host Notre Dame football and WLS. I'll be in South Bend tomorrow for Indy's Blue and Gold game.
Okay.
I turn up on Rant and Rave with Luke Canellis on Fox 32 about 6 times a month, and I still do a lot of commercial work in and out of the market. So I'm at an age where I should be clipping coupons and wearing white shoes and a white belt and taking a ceramics class in Bradenton, Florida. But I still love to work 12-hour days. So I feel very, very blessed. And also being on with young, talented guys like you is a joy for someone like me, because you guys are, believe me, you guys are very, very professional in what you do. You're very smooth. I like your level of confidence. You guys are both going to carve out terrific careers. You can take that right to the bank.
Well, thanks a lot for
Thank you, Chet.
The kind words, and thanks for coming on, and we'd love to have you on again sometime, Chet.
Thanks, Chet.
Anytime you want, just dial the number, and if it doesn't respond, it means I haven't paid Sprint.
Okay.
Thank you, Chet.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.
You too, sir. And that was Chet Coppock, legendary Chicago sports media figure on the Friday Sports Riot. Only, Ryan.
Yeah.
Only on SportsTownChicago.com.
The Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com.